Hello again, everybody. Ryan Lilly, Brian Dieters, MPTV Coaches Show. Let's start with a little baseball. We got baseball behind us again, and Potters haven't lost since getting back from Memphis.
Yeah, what I think that tells us is what a great trip, right? Get yourself ready for the season, get your camaraderie going, and understanding what the expectations are, and then come back here and really start doing what you want to do to get the wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about Ryan Shafton last week, but I mean, obviously, I think one thing of note is the junior pitchers, Matt Sander, Cam Crawford, Alex McKee, have all also stepped up as well.
Absolutely, just building that depth as you get into the conference play. Obviously, it's already mid-April, and before we know it, we're going to be looking at how the Potters want to do pushing into the postseason. So to have all those pitchers is really significant.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our MPTV crew, as you can see behind us, does a great job covering baseball. Don Rodemaker, Tyler Anderton, Ezra Rave, Chip Dice. I've seen all of them out there at times this week, and they've had the opportunity to interview Coach Crawford. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, he's really honed in on his craft since he was playing Little League, and I always tell people, even if he's 6'6", 220, if he was 6 foot 170, he would still be a really effective high school pitcher because he mixes it up, throws 3 pitches for a strike. Now it's an added bonus that you got a guy that's kind of a physical presence out there, and he's throwing 90-91 with efficiency and, like you said, accuracy. It makes it pretty fun to watch, and that's why his numbers right now are pretty incredible. I think he's somewhere along the lines of 30 innings, 28 innings, 29 innings, somewhere in there, 1 run, and he's been dominating.
Yeah, and I know he's a senior, so maybe I'm jumping the gun here a little bit, but Shaft's a senior, so he'll be gone next year. So what are your plans for next year for a good pitcher?
Yeah, we got some good young guys coming up, and sometimes it's hard to replace a guy with that kind of that talent, the caliber he is, and more than anything, it's just you hope that the guys watching him right now and watching him grow and develop the way he carries himself, that you hope that they can learn from it. And then we have some other guys that are really good. Again, he's a generational type guy, and he's a 4-year guy. So for us to say we're going to replace him, that's probably impossible. We just hope that we can find several guys that can eat some of those innings. Well, I think with him, just like his entire game, with his power and the way he carries himself, it's preparation kind of creates separation. So what he's done to make himself where he's at is he puts a lot of time in the weight room. He trains year-round. He really loves the game of baseball. And the unique thing that he does with his training, I don't know how much he did this offseason, but I know 2 off-seasons ago he did karate. And I think that just doing a different sport, working some different muscles and some different movements like that has helped him even become more explosive. And I think that helps with his throwing and his hitting, because he actually throws like 86, 87 off the mound. We just haven't used him yet because he does a great job behind the plate.
Yeah, I mean, folks, if you're watching the stream and you want to learn how to become a great catcher, I guess go take karate lessons, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing. The vibes are good, and when the dugout's negative and quiet, you're not really creating an atmosphere. In a basketball or football game, there's a huge crowd there. In baseball, the dugout's kind of where you got to create that energy and environment.
Exactly.
And sometimes you get guys that are a little bit consumed with how their individual performance is going, or maybe they're not playing as much as they want to. So sometimes it's hard to get that rah-rah stuff out of them. But you're definitely right. It's definitely room for improvement. I love the fact that
you can see he's really excited, and obviously he talks a little bit in there about those juniors, right, replacing Shafton next year, but it's good to have a guy like that for the rest of his senior year.
Yeah, no question about it. It's good to see him excited because this is a guy who's, been there. This isn't his first rodeo, obviously, so he recognizes he has a talented team, and sky's the limit potentially.
Yeah, let's talk about another team that sky's the limit and talk about track a little bit. I mean, both boys and girls, but we were talking before we started today on the boys side, Cole Rinkenberger. We knew he was fast watching him play football, but when you time it, he's really fast.
Yeah, great kid, first and foremost, disciplined, focused, works hard, and it's paid off. His weight room efforts are now fighting their way onto the track, and to post a score that he did this past weekend up at Metamora with regards to the 100 is pretty remarkable for high school sports.
Yeah, and obviously that's the sprint side of it. On the girls' side, Avery Breaker doing really well on the sprint side, and then our distance group just continues to excel. But no surprise there when you consider how good our cross-country teams were this fall.
Have been for years, no surprise there. Congrats to those kids as they continue to do what they do.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit soccer, and it's always one close to your heart. Obviously, tournament this weekend, obviously at United Township, and then, obviously getting back into conference play later this week.
More conference play this week. Really nice weekend up at the Quad Cities for the kids. Took on a really strong UT team, I think, Friday night, and then came and had some nice victories Saturday. Just built the camaraderie, the confidence. Good to get away, have those kind of small game tournaments to push you forward here, because they're going to start to make a run. This is a really talented group, so I'm excited to see how they continue to grow.
Yeah, and then we also have, just real quick before we wrap it up, we want to talk tennis and then lacrosse on both the boys and girls side, obviously co-op lacrosse, but tennis continues to excel, kind of a relatively young tennis roster. Sam Stanfield, one of our leaders there, and then obviously on the lacrosse side, I think it's kind of cool that both boys and girls teams have kind of evolved, right? And now there's kind of this expectation that they're both supposed to be pretty good when lacrosse literally just started like 5 years ago in this area.
Yeah, just getting started. You really see it growing a lot up where I live, up in Dunlap. It's really taken off. I know that's one of the bigger teams here. But to see the kids here in Tazewell County come together, make themselves a legitimate competitive program is great to see, like you said.
Yeah, so that's, I think, all we got for this week. Obviously the weather's supposed to be nicer this week as I'm looking outside my window, but that also means that maybe we'll have more to report next week. We've still been battling weather, quite honestly, a little bit with some of these events, but hopefully the weather's good and there's more Potters athletics to report to you next week. So for Brian Dieters, I'm Ryan Lindley. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.